Welcome to the Mosh Pit, your home for unsigned punk, rock, and metal artists, where your music goes to be heard.
Hire the puppets. Little Danny.
Little Danny's on the desk, kicking, screaming, crying, chanting songs from Napalm Death, with his switchblade flying, and his arms are such a mess. Teachers think that he's possessed as he stands there on the desk, screaming death to this whole class. And if she fails this test, one day she will come right back with the bomb to blow you up from the song she's playing. Little Eric shot his friend 'cause he saw it on Evil Dead. Got the shotgun from his dad, screaming, "This is my boomstick." Devil's Bible, Necronomicon, hopes to be transported, and he's gonna kill demons, but his friend's still dying. And if she fails this test, one day she will come right back with the bomb to blow you up from the song she's playing. Little Danny knows. Little Danny knows. Here is Cody with a gun, got his big black trench coat on, like the guys wear on James Bond, on his Nintendo system. Now he's found himself a friend who's hooked on PlayStation, and they made themselves a game and killed all their classmates. And if she fails this test, one day she will come right back with the bomb to blow you up from the song she's playing. Little Danny knows. Little Danny knows. Little Danny.
This is Wes Everett,
And this is AJ Green.
and tonight we've got an interview with Patrick Rivers from 3 Days Under on the Mosh Pit.
What's up, guys?
We are good, man. How are you?
I am actually fantastic. I don't know who coordinated the global pandemic with allergy season, but they really need to get their scheduling worked out, because it's like a witch hunt here in Kentucky if I have to go out for something.
I agree.
It's terrible.
Yeah, Georgia's kind of the same way. The pollen's fighting that coronavirus, and
Yeah. Everybody looks at you funny if you clear your throat.
oh yeah,
It's not the Rona. It's the pollen. We're good.
Yeah.
absolutely.
All right, so let's get this thing started. So we have a few questions. So why don't you just start off with telling us who you are and what band you're in, and if you play any instruments.
Not a problem at all. I'm Patrick Rivers from the Christian metal band 3 Days Under. I'm the lead vocalist, and on the double EP that we released, I also play the rhythm guitar, rhythm electric. But we have since brought on another guy to fill those shoes. That way I don't have to worry about it, so I can focus more on doing the frontman thing. So
It's awesome. We were watching some of your music videos, and they were awesome.
thank you so much. Jamie, the bass player and the backup vocalist, he's a movie nerd. And those are his words, by the way, not mine. But he's a movie nerd. So he grew up filming like B-rated horror flicks in his backyard and stuff. But that's where he got the love for cinematography. And so it's his eye and his shooting and everything that makes these videos. We were able to do them all ourselves thanks to Jamie there.
Yeah, that's absolutely awesome. That is so cool.
Crossover. Save me from myself.
Satan's laughing, what I do.
end up like? Were you when you were growing up? Were you encouraged to sing, or were you encouraged to play instruments? How did you end up getting into the music industry?
This is going to sound really stupid, but it was mowing grass. And it was before
Yes.
it was a Walkman, not a Discman, a Walkman with, I think it was Green Day's Dookie album. And I was mowing grass, singing to the top of my lungs over the mower, man. And that's where I found out, or at least I thought I could sing. And then, you know, just like most every other musician, you got a buddy who's got a guitar for his birthday, and another guy who's got a turd drum kit somewhere, and go, yeah, we're a band. So that's how that evolved, really.
That's very cool. So let me step away from the interview here. Let me ask about that Walkman. Was it one of the good ones that had the rewind and fast forward button, or did you have to do that little flip over the cassette when you?
You had to flip that.
Yeah, I know that's right.
Crazy talk.
I had off-brand Walkman.
You're looking at it just a play button.
It was like a crawl, man. Limp, man.
Oh.
Oh Lord.
That's awesome, man. So, speaking of, Green Day and those, who were some of your inspirations growing up?
70s rock and 70s through 90s and early, early 2000s music. That's those are my digs. Because where I used to work construction, the only thing that they would have on their radios is the classic rock station. And then the classic rock was the 60s and 70s,
Yeah.
And so we had all those guys running through there. I was a huge fan of the Doors and Jim Morrison. I just thought, even though he's a little out there, or was a little out there, I was just a fan of his showmanship and his, I have to say his boldness. Because if you really look at his performing, he was bold. He took a lot of risks that people didn't take back then. And so...
Absolutely.
So yeah, definitely. And honestly, Pearl Jam is a huge one for me. I'm a huge Pearl Jam fan. Had a chance to see them live, but as well as through the Foo Fighters and through. I mean, it's crazy. I'm so eclectic when it comes to music for the most part. I'll throw on Marvin Gaye. You know what I'm saying? And I'll be cool with that.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
See, I'm a Foo Fighters fan.
Yeah, honestly, those guys put on the best show that I've ever seen a live band. You come out on stage and they go from the minute they step on stage for an hour and 45 minutes straight hammer down. That to me is stamina and amazing, getting your money's worth right there.
So this is kind of a Foo Fighter question, but I was asking Wes the other day. I said, could you imagine what the world would be like if Kurt Cobain hadn't committed suicide? We would not have the Foo Fighters.
I think Dave would have gotten bored and wanted to do his own thing. I think we might have still had the Foo Fighters. 'Cause you know how everybody branches off nowadays, but that is a strong possibility. You are correct, AJ.
But you don't feel like that Dave would have got caught up in it and turned out to be the Slash of that generation, where he stuck it out with Guns N' Roses and really didn't make anything more of himself than what he could have been. Slash could have been so much bigger. And then
Indeed.
Velvet Revolver came along, and that was, basically 20 years too late.
Yeah. Honestly, I think, complete speculation, because I don't know these men from Adam.
Right.
But, honestly, I think Dave would have got fed up with Kurt.
Yeah.
Point blank. Got fed up. You know what? You're doing too much of the stuff, bro. You got Courtney hanging around, and, we're done. I just got to go do stuff.
Yeah.
Get ready, hit me back up.
Yoko, oh no.
Yeah. Or more modern Dave Mustaine and left depends on who you listen to. Either he left or he was kicked out.
Right. Yeah. There's always another side of the fence.
That's right. What is that? There's three sides of the story: his side, her side, and the truth.
The right side. So, how did you end up with the guys you're with now?
Man, that was a long road. Actually, I started out with an acoustic in a pool house. Just writing some straight up worship songs back in, I think it was 2013 maybe. Yeah, sounds. Yeah, about 2013. I had come from the Marine Corps. I got out of there, became an alcoholic drug addict. I was in a rough patch. Wound up having a kid with my ex-wife, and then she was 3, and I got custody of her, and I wound up getting an acoustic guitar for a Christmas present one year. And I just started writing music again and really playing music again, and it was therapeutic. And so then it slowly evolved into this. This right here, and I'm so I hated the process. I hated the fact that it felt like it took forever to even get to this point. But I'm grateful for it because I've learned a lot, and I mean, and the guys that I'm with now are what make the band, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, definitely. So you all go to church together and hang out, and your personal lives are intertwined, right? Or are you guys just like strictly bandmates?
Oh, for the most part, we get together usually throughout the summer. Excuse me, again, those allergies. But we get through we'll have like pool parties at the bass player's house, and I know we have Christmas parties every year for the band. You know, just like a company would, because we do spend so much time together. We all do attend different churches on Sunday mornings, so we've got different church families, but in our opinion, that gives us so much of a broader reach of support in our community. I mean, that's 5 different churches that we can turn to for support, and that is rare. That it's rare to find one church to support, especially in the Bible Belt here, a Christian metal band's dream. So
absolutely,
so we're really blessed as far as that goes.
Yeah.
That's very cool. So with all the stuff that you've been through, do you use a lot of that as inspiration to write?
Every song that I write, which is lyrically, it's all of them for the most part. They are all my prayers, and they're all my struggles, and they're all my hurts and hang-ups. They are. Every single lyric that you will, it's not going to be some unicorns and rainbows thing. Christianity isn't about, okay, I've accepted Jesus as my Savior. Life's a cakewalk from here on out. If anything, and I don't mean to scare anybody off, it's probably gotten harder, but it's easier to take because I know who stands behind me, you know?
Exactly.
Definitely. So you're in the Bible Belt, you're in Kentucky. How do they take metal as a genre of music? Like, how do they respond and receive?
Oh, they don't.
That's all Satan's music.
We do not play in our hometown.
Right. That's what I wrote down. How do the locals receive you?
We were told by a pastor here who was like, listen, I'm sure you have an audience. It's just not here.
Oh, wow.
I was like, okay, point taken. We'll do elsewhere.
So, we put together a festival here in little old Rockmart, Georgia.
Oh, God.
And we had a Christian metal band headline the thing, and everybody was sitting there looking at us like we were nuts. They were like, what is this? And then the guy goes off in scripture in the middle of it, and they're all like, oh. And we're like, if you would listen to the words.
So did it wind up panning out for you, or did they kind of say, well, that was nice, but never again?
Yeah.
Well, we got a lot of the venues around here like, man, we want to book them. And I'm like, okay, call us. We'll get them in there. Nobody ever called.
Yeah.
It would have been better if they would just been like, no.
Bye.
That's like all the friends that claim they're going to come to our show. Yeah, you're not.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're not.
Oh, man, you didn't see me. I was in the back by the bar. What bar? It's a church.
Cascadent. Into the mirror.
What would you say is your biggest challenge as a band? You know, aside from your hometown won't let you play.
Biggest challenge as a band. Honestly, right now at this very moment is this stupid virus that's preventing like us getting together and practicing. And we've got stuff that we record on our home studio and share among each other to work on while we're here. But that's the biggest challenge as of now. And it sucks, but it's necessary.
Yeah.
I think that for the most part, as a nation, the governors and everybody, our leadership is doing a good job as far as what they need to be doing. I feel like they're doing a good job for the most part. But again, it puts a damper on things like we do, because this is we've canceled March. We've probably had to cancel April. So that takes out of the band fund, you know. And I worked for 6 months booking this year, and so booking in itself is difficult when you're kind of unknown, you know.
Right. And it sucks too, because we just got through winter and everybody was getting ready for spring and music and festivals, and
Yeah.
hell, down here they've canceled stuff all the way through like August.
Really?
Really. I'm gonna give a shout out to Rockin' Pod Expo up in Nashville. I got in touch with them last year, and they invited us out to come out for the podcast. We couldn't make it last year, so we saved up money. We took time off from work, and we were going to go this year. He put out a thing that it was canceled this year, and I was like, really?
Man.
It's like, really? And that's in August, so...
What happens when this thing clears up in a month? And this whole thing flattens, and people have canceled stuff through August. I mean, and that, in my opinion, people are jumping the gun a little too quick for, because I firmly believe that between like the 5th and the 15th of this month is when we're going to see a complete, and this is just what I feel in my gut, what I feel in my soul. And it's just going to be a completely different story, and things are going to get better. I'm not saying that it's going to be magically gone in a day, but
Right.
what happens when things get better over the course of the next couple of weeks and people have canceled things through August? They're going to be feeling pretty dumb just because they don't realize what kind of God is in control.
But do you think it's going to have any impact on the crowds? Do you think it's going to take time for them to go, okay, maybe it's okay for us to go back out? I mean, considering they're not doing anything now, but going out. Even
Dude, we
with-
just watched a ton of spring breakers to the beaches in Florida saying, what virus? There you go.
Yeah, you got a point there.
As soon as they open stuff up, people are just going to be flocking just to get out and do stuff.
Yeah.
So, no, so your primary audience obviously is not Kentuckians. Who is your primary audience?
Whoever will listen, man. But honestly, it's the broken. I was working as a jail cop there for a while, man, and I was on the midnight shift, and I had the opportunity to, put down the taser, put down the pepper spray, and just take a key and go back to the individual cells and go in there and hang out with these guys. And most of them were doing Bible study, and I got to sit down, and I just live in a small community, so we're not talking, I've got like Dahmer in one cell and Ted Bundy in another looking to gut me. But these are just guys with problems that just needed to be listened to.
Right.
And so I'd sit and I'd listen, and finally they'd come up and they'd get out, and like 2 weeks later, they would leave on fire for some Jesus, 2 weeks later, they'd come back through the doors and be like, well, there was nothing there for me out there. I couldn't turn on some contemporary music and cling to that. That's not how I receive it. And I feel like that's when Jesus was like, hey, why don't you do me a favor and take what you grew up with, what you love so much in the music, and infuse me into it, and then go spread it to these guys who can latch on to this kind of stuff. And so we spent a lot of time last year in recovery homes and communities like that, really reaching out to the broken, man. Really reaching out to the guys and girls who cannot latch on to the contemporary worship music that's out there. So that's where our heart is anyway.
That's very cool. That's an absolute uplifting story, Okay.
I don't know. I think it has a lot to do with what interests people. I mean, I remember being like a teenager and I never wanted to read Oliver Twist. Who wants to read that crap? But I found one of my mom's Harlequins and I was like on fire to read, you know? Like, it is what it is. You got to find what interests people and then be like, hey, look,
No.
it doesn't have to be boring, put on your tie and your dress and go to church. Here,
Right.
you know,
Yeah.
here it is in a raw form. Something that you're going to like.
I think that when people can actually realize that this whole walk and this whole, I don't even want to tag it with religion because it's relationship, but this whole lifestyle as a Christian isn't about beating somebody down because you feel like that you're better than them. It's helping them up because you've been where they are
Yes.
and loving them through it. And once they can see that in all this, the way I truly feel that it was intended to be, that's when we see change. And we've been blessed enough to watch so many just literal miracles happen through going and playing in places and watch people just chains literally fall off. We've leukemia had an opportunity to pray with this woman, and she had been like for 11 years stuck in her house. The doctor said it's leukemia. It's not going to get any better. But I was blessed enough to be in prayer with this lady, and the next day she's out on the lake the entire day. She gets a report from her doctor 2 days after that talking about how, listen, I don't know if it was a fluke for the last 11 years, but your blood work's coming back clear.
Wow.
You don't have any of these issues. So, I mean, when you can take that kind of love and compassion into those atmospheres, that's when you see it change. Sorry, I got off on a tangent there, but got excited.
It is what it is. I mean, it's the truth. That's it's like your overall message is, you know, hey, we all can relate. We're all on this earth together. We all can relate, and here's my product. My product is something that's going to interest you and fire you up about a positive message. So
Definitely. We like to we know that you're hurt, but we also know that you can heal. Heal. So I did not mean for that to rhyme at all.
is that the next lyric in your next song?
May just put it in.
Oracle. Know your enemy.
Going back to the touring and the venues, what were some of your favorite ones to play? And as soon as things open up, you can't wait to get back to.
I really, really adore this place in Newark, Ohio. It's called the Disciple Factory, and they're the first guys that ever gave us a shot. And Pastor Critter, he opened his doors, and Ryan, they opened their doors for us, and they brought us in, and now every chance that we get up there, we get up there. So that is definitely one place that I'm looking forward to getting back to. And there's so many new ones this year that I couldn't even tell you the places that there are just too many. And that's been a blessing too. But definitely the factory. We'll get back up and party down with those guys up there, because that's always fun.
Awesome. Have you guys broke into the Atlanta area yet, or?
Not yet, but if you could hook me up, Wes, we're coming down.
Dude, I would love to. As soon as things start moving around here again, I've got a couple places, couple venues that I can reach out to. I can get you guys in. Quick question: Do you know another band that's kind of in the same genre? Well, they are in the same genre. Faithhead. Have you?
Faithhead. Oh, P-Funk and the boys. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Love them.
Yes.
And that was who we put in that festival.
Yes, sir.
No.
Yeah.
Jimmy was up there just going to town, and then breaks out some scripture.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Like legit, like hopping around, dancing. Looked like a little Energizer bunny up there. It was great.
And it was awesome. It was absolutely
And we were
awesome.
like, yeah. And then scripture, and everybody was like, what?
I was actually I was actually talking to P-Funk today, as a matter of fact.
Cool.
So, yeah, I stay in touch with those guys, and we kind of share info. Because what I found out in this whole Christian band thing, it's almost doesn't even matter what genre you are.
Mm-hmm.
People want to help. People are willing to help each other. Like, if they can't get you where you need to be, they will drag you along until you get there. And so I've noticed a lot of sharing amongst the bands that I never experienced in secular bands. In the secular world, it was cutthroat.
Yeah.
It's like a band battle, like a street gang fight from a Michael Jackson video. But in this arena, it's amazing the help from our brothers.
Oh, absolutely. That's just the thing about just the metal network. I mean, they get
feel
that
like,
rap, but
yeah,
God.
I feel like that rock and roll and metal get a bad name anyway. Like, the nicest people that I have met have been metal and rock and roll artists versus I've been to country shows, and I've seen country artists play their set, get off stage, leave, don't say hi, how you doing, forget your life, nothing to anybody. But then you go to rock shows and everybody stays, and like,
It's like a brotherhood.
yeah, it's like everybody supports people.
Yes, there's an understanding that without people listening to the music, then you really wouldn't be on the platform that you're on. So I mean, but honestly, everybody that I've run into thus far is just like you're saying, just super cool, down to earth. They're just amazing individuals.
Awesome.
You guys heard of a band called Monarchs to Oblivion? Do yourself the favor. And I know
do
this is
that.
a 3 days under interview or whatever, but you got these guys right here.
Nice.
Yes, you will not be disappointed. We actually were up at the factory. We did a New Year's Eve gig there, and Monarchs opened for us. And those guys, I feel at some point we should have been opening for them, because those guys are just whoa.
Yeah, we love hearing about other bands. I mean, not to take the focus off of you guys, but any bands you want to throw our way, we are glad to play.
Please.
Man,
Which-
I will send you whatever info, whoever I got. I got a few that you should probably hear, honestly.
Awesome.
That you won't be disappointed with. So.
Becoming Sons. Open Arms.
I was down for the count, but you brought me out. You tried to tear me apart without from the side. the pain becomes you set me free. You carry the weight of it all on your shoulders.
Yeah, that one leads us into our next question. If you want to collaborate with any one artist, dead or alive, who would it be and why?
Oh, wow. Wow, that's a... Man, that's a stupid hard question. Because if I pick who's on the tip of my tongue, then I know I've missed somebody. Because I'd probably wind up punching Jim in the mouth. And be like, all right, Lizard King, you need to sit down and lay off the whiskey. We cannot continue to have this working relationship. Well, he was the Lizard King. But it would probably be, if I have to pick somebody right now, gun to the head, I would probably love to sit. I guess I get shot. gun to the head right now, I guess I just get shot. This is such a defining question. That's good. Can we come back to that?
You know, top 5?
Do I got a top 5? Oh, I get a top 5. Elvis would be on that list. because he kind of changed and shaped the way music is perceived here in this country as far as that goes. I would probably do, and I'm just going to show I would probably do in his same era there. I'd probably pick somebody like the Buddy Holly or the Big Bopper. Because again, I mean, we're world changers here. Maybe Lennon.
Yeah.
I got to think of world changers here, because I don't want to be I don't want to be that artist that sounds like everybody else.
Yeah.
Yeah, but who would it be really fun to play with, though? Like, just world changing aside, who'd just be fun to play with?
Dave Grohl would be really fun to play with. I just think Dave Grohl would the energy that man brings to the stage.
Oh, yeah.
He is by far the best show I've ever been to see.
And the talent.
Yes, the energy and the talent and just the brain in that guy. If I had to pick one guy to ever collaborate with, and I only got the one pick, it'd be Dave, because he's just, I don't know, there's something about the way he thinks, just so, I don't know. He was able to take what he came from to, even though he's got a mouth like a sailor, I don't know if I could deal with that F word every other word. And I used to be that guy, being a Marine and all. That was part of the vocabulary.
Do you have any advice for up-and-coming bands that are trying to break into the market, trying to make a name for themselves, just trying to get out there?
Do not stop. I don't care what you're told or how many people try to drag you down. The band that I was in before this, it was a 4-piece. There were 3 other of us, and they looked and they told me straight up, they were like, "Look, man, you dream too big. We just want to stay local. We just want to kind of shuffle around here. You dream too big, so you go out and you find out whatever it is that you need to do, but we can't be a part of it."
Wow.
And again, I've told you about the pastor said, you've got an audience, but it's just not here. Fight through that. I mean, if you're doing something that is worth anything, expect the haters. Yeah, without haters, then you're not making an impact. Your spirit isn't irritating their demons. So bring on the hate, really. I mean, that's when you know when you're kicking in some doors.
I like that your spirit isn't irritating their demons.
I love that.
So, what are your 3 biggest goals for the band this year?
I only have one goal for the band this year, and that is to see more salvations. That is really the goal for this year. We're going to go out and we're going to play shows. We're going to go out and we're going to be on some big stages in front of some big crowds. We're going to sell some music. We're going to sell some merch. We're going to do all these things. We're going to get miles under our belt. We're going to get our stage time. We're going to get our exposure. But all that is for nothing if at every single show that we go to, 2, 3, hopefully 10, 50 people aren't giving their lives to Jesus. That is what's going to make it worth it. And that is the goal that I really want to see this year. And I've actually had conversation with the guys. They're like, listen, guys, our goal this year is for salvations of people. That is what we want. Music's fun, and we love praying with people. We honestly tout how our most favorite time of the show is after the show, when we're talking with people and we're praying with them. And that's where we're happiest, and that's where we're the most, I don't know, doing the most good. But salvations this year is the goal.
Awesome. Well, we're hoping that we can help out with that by getting your music from 3 Days Under to as many people as will listen. People listen to the podcast, people hear this interview, people just, come to your shows.
Awesome.
Because
awesome, man. We definitely appreciate that. And again, I can't thank you guys enough for having me and just having conversation. This is good.
Absolutely, man. Anytime that you want to come.
And the questions have been fantastic. Usually you get the cupcake, what's your name mean? And how do you come up with it? And what's that one song lyric about? They're so cookie cutter and cupcake. You guys are good. You guys are real good.
Oh, thank you.
That makes us feel better about our questions.
Before the interview, and I'm like, hey, can we ask this?
Hey, like I was telling Wes yesterday, I'm an open book, so nothing is off the table. I don't have anything to hide. Because if I had something to hide, that means somebody could come and uncover it at some point and destroy everything.
Yep.
So I was giving my testimony in front of my 7-year-old daughter in a house full of recovery guys. 3 years ago? About 3 years ago. And somebody came up to me. She's like, "Listen, that's your daughter sitting there. She's 7. Why would you tell her that you like had a cocaine-induced heart attack and you died and blah blah blah?" Of course, this was back in 2007. This isn't like recent events or anything.
No.
But and I told her, I was like, "Look, she knows everything about me. That way, nobody can come behind me and tell her any different."
Mm-hmm.
And when they do come and tell her any different, and they have since that testimony back in 2007, they're like, "This is who your daddy was." She's like, "Yeah, but look at who my daddy is now."
Right.
Right.
I mean, it's like, boom, nailed it.
Yep.
And so, and I mean, that's the way I encourage the guys in the band to be too, and they are. I have the most humble, loving, outgoing, caring, open, broken band of misfits that one could ask for. And so I'm happy that God finally put it together and I stopped pushing it. So
That's awesome, man. That is the best testimony right there that you could ask for.
yes, sir.
Well, man, I thank you so much for hanging out with us. And like I said, anytime you want to come on and chat and talk about anything upcoming, promote any shows, give me a shout. We'll set it up.
Outstanding. We're actually working on some new music right now. We've got, I think, 3 songs recorded. We're probably going to record another 7. We got about 4 more waiting to take the studio. And what's getting ready to come when we release this stuff is senior year high school compared to what we released. Because this stuff that's coming is just straight raw power.
Oh,
It's
that's...
just, ugh. I can't wait to get it out.
Oh, I can't wait to hear it. Cannot wait to hear it.
And if you guys are ever in Atlanta or anything, come by the studio, do an in-house interview. We'd love to meet
If
you.
we are ever in Atlanta, we would be honored to stop in.
That's
We would love it.
That's awesome,
We
man.
definitely love it.
And we will do our best to make that happen. Before you go, let me ask you, what do you use as far as your recording software for multiple bands? Do you use GarageBand or one of the others?
Actually, we have a board and everything set up in our practice area. We got a whole PA system, and I think Jamie's running Cakewalk right now, a program through his computer software.
Yep.
That or Reaper. He switches back between 1 or 2, whichever is the most updated version. But then, of course, when we go into a studio, our producer, he has all the top of the line Pro Tools and
Yeah.
blah, 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 technical stuff that I don't understand, nor will I pretend to.
Nice. Yeah, I was just curious about during the pandemic here where you can't all get together. You guys are, social distancing, right?
Oh, definitely. Our last practice was a couple of weeks ago. So we were able to lay down the foundation to a couple of these new songs. We're doing a Cash cover too, man. A Johnny Cash cover that is just going to, and we've scoured the internet and we've listened to people, their rendition of this song, and I don't want to give it away, so I'm not going to tell you the name of the song, but nobody's been able to do it metal. And if they have tried, they've just done it the same way, and it's kind of terrible.
Just louder.
So we have managed to take this song and just, and we're pumped.
Oh, I can't wait.
So that's going to be on the next release too.
It's like Volbeat doing I'm So Lonesome I Can Cry.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes, definitely. But again, thank you guys so much for taking an interest in supporting the band and supporting the music.
3 days under. Mended.
Well, I know where to find you. You're just beneath the skin, consuming every single aspect of the man within. My head is still so crowded. There's so much back and forth. Dark shadows staring at me, and in my mind I'm waging war. And it feels like I'm suffocating. To be with you's like breathing for the first time. In these moments, you man was broken. And to be without you's like dying on the inside. The world grows colder when I can't feel you anymore. And you know what complicates me. You know what keeps me still. You know what tries to drag me down and out and break my will. Mirrors laughing at me. Demons casting stones. The air it feels so heavy, but you breathe life into these bones.
And say unto them, O ye dry bones, hear the word of the Lord.
I hold my breath as I'm going under. Yeah, I feel you when I let go.
From the Stereo Sound Records Studios, the Mosh Pit Podcast. The views, thoughts, and opinions expressed in the Mosh Pit belong solely to the author, and not necessarily to the organization, committee or other group or individual. Any questions, concerns, or comments can be emailed to themoshpit@stereosoundrecords.com.